So thank you for asking. Thank you for having me. Bark is technology that keeps children safer online, and because of that, in real life. Kids today are spending, I mean, goodness gracious, upwards of 8 hours a day online, like not playing outside. They're like in a screen. And so their worlds are in a screen, and the whole world is also in a screen. And so what Bark does is uses artificial intelligence, some very, very intuitive machine learning algorithms to scan their connected devices and accounts, over 30 social media accounts, in fact, as well as text messaging and email. It scans those for digital dangers, or potential problems, whether it's cyberbullying and profanity to some really intense things like suicidal ideation and online predation. When our algorithm detects those dangers, it then sends the parent or caregiver an alert via text or email, not only with the problem, like, hey, here's what happened on XYZ platform, but we also give best recommended next steps for how to address, because I'm the first parent in the history of parenting on this planet, at least, that has had to deal with digital parenting like this. We didn't grow up having Instagram in middle school. I had AOL chat rooms, but that was about it. And there were dangers there, but not like there is today. So that's what Bark is. Any questions there before I move on to how I do what I do and what do I do there?
No, you can just flow into that and we'll come back and pull at the
Okay,
threads.
cool. Okay. In terms of, so this is great. I was actually a co-founder at a startup that was an anonymous platform, but it wasn't like Yik Yak in that we had misogyny and racism and all kinds of terrible things there. We actually had a really finely moderated community, and we kicked anybody out if they just did one thing that was not cool. So I had this anonymous platform that I built. I was working out of the Atlanta Tech Village, and Brian Basin, the CEO of Bark, reached out to me, and we were talking about helping to train his algorithms with our community. And that was a cool conversation. It didn't materialize, and then a few months later, he was not able to present at TechStars Atlanta. Bark was selected as one of the TechStars companies for the Atlanta cohort, and they have TechStars Demo Day, and every founder or partner gets up and presents, and he wasn't able to do it, and he called me up and asked me if I would do it, and I was like, sure. I'm making a very long story very, very short. But essentially, I had to learn all about Bark, the inner workings of Bark, over the course of like 14 days, and be so confident about it that I could speak to a room full of 900 people at the Masquerade in Atlanta. And these are people that were going to potentially write us, $500,000 to $1 million checks to keep our company going. I say our company, I wasn't even a part of it yet, really. I mean, I kind of was, but so no pressure, just a lot of pressure. It was terrifying. But I printed out, like literally printed out every slide, put it on my wall, and I just like, those memes where the people are like looking at the strings crossing. That was like me for 2 weeks, just like soaking it in. And I crushed it. I'm okay on a stage, and I did well, and that was great. And after digging deep into the business, from that standpoint, I was like, I can't not be a part of this. So I asked him if I could become a greater part of it, and he asked me if I would become a greater part of it. And that was over 5 years ago. And I haven't looked back. And I know I glossed over a bunch of things, but the reason when I started talking about this, I kind of had like a twinkle in my eye and a giggle, is because that previous startup, I won't even name it because it doesn't deserve to be named. It had no revenue model, and there was a bit of a toxic culture within it. And at the time, because it was my idea, I had based my whole identity around it. Like we had gotten press, everybody loved it. They're like, "Oh, you started this app," and like, "Wow, it's so great." And like that was my whole identity. And when I realized like it wasn't going to work, like things were not going to work out, and I realized it had to die. Basically, I kind of died with it, and then I was like, "What is my point? Why am I here? What am I going to do? I have to go work for somebody now? Like, whoa, you know, this is not good. I was not in a good place." And then Brian reaches out, and it was like, oh, like there was this bridge, there was this path. I was like, oh, wait, maybe I can still work in startup land and it not be toxic. And there will be a paycheck. Like, that's amazing. And like a revenue model. And more important than all of that, a mission and a purpose. Like, building tech with people that have proven experience and have done it before. Bark is Brian's fourth startup. He's had 3 successful exits before that. And with this mission of protecting kids and empowering families, like, okay, all right, life, let's do this again. Like it was great. And it still is.